Hi everyone, I'm San, and you're listening to San Huyen Podcast. The topic I want to share today might surprise you a little, because until now, I've always told you to be yourself, to always be yourself, and never lose your identity. But what if I told you that sometimes we shouldn't be ourselves? Many times I try to imagine my audience, the people listening to what I share. What kind of people are they? Are they people with many thoughts and feelings who also long to fulfill their dreams? Do they have a quiet side, perhaps enjoying spending time alone? Is that you? Please share a little about yourself in the comments below. I simply want to get to know you better, what your hobbies are, what you like to do every day or in your free time, just like we're friends getting to know each other. As for me, I think I'm a person with many facets, a multifaceted personality. When I work, I'm strict and clear. I absolutely hate meetings that don't solve anything. Responsibilities need to be clear, who does what needs to be defined, instead of just dragging everyone into a room and ending up with no solutions. I love listening to classical music. At home, I often play soothing classical pieces or Gregorian chants. I lean towards Buddhism. I'm a Buddhist, and I'm on a path of self-improvement. In this life, I think it's easy to spot others' mistakes, but how to see our own mistakes? That's the most essential thing for us to improve ourselves. I believe that a person stops growing when they stop recognizing their flaws and working on themselves, when they stop striving to become something, not necessarily something grand, but simply to become better every day. If we keep clinging to images from last year, the year before, or even 10 years ago, a title like outstanding student that people gave you, and you still pride yourself on that, it means you're not growing. You're stuck at important milestones in your life. You're trapped in those past glories. I'm happy to be busy and putting in a lot of effort these days. Actually, I had a conversation with a younger friend, and she said that she often hears people advise, be yourself, but she doesn't even know what being herself means. She doesn't like her current self, and she needs to understand what being herself truly entails. Who am I? How well do I understand my identity, my personality? Only then can she truly be herself. At that moment, I thought, you're right. Perhaps this falls into the category of things I don't know. I genuinely didn't think there were people who didn't know what being themselves meant. This is a sincere sharing from me. I really didn't know. Because, let me tell you. Back when I was in 6th or 7th grade, I remember watching the news after dinner, probably around 6:30 or 7:00 p.m., I don't remember exactly. I hadn't gone up to study right after eating. I was sitting watching TV, watching the news. My mom wasn't really strict, but she probably saw me watching TV for a bit too long, so she asked me why I wasn't studying, kind of reminding me. I answered her once, and from that day on, she never ever dared to remind me to study again. I told her, my studies are more important to me. This education is for me, and it's more important to me, so I don't need anyone to remind me. My studies can't be as important to anyone else as they are to me, so I know when I need to study. Right now, I've just eaten too much, I'm too full, so I can't go up and study right away. Oh my God, I was only in 7th grade, still a child, but I answered so clearly. Later, when I was around 24 or 25, my parents often urged me to get married, They pushed a lot. I didn't care what neighbors or other people said, but if my parents brought it up, I felt they didn't trust me. At that time, I again didn't get angry or anything, but I said this. I'm thinking about becoming a nun because right now, it seems like a way for people to liberate themselves from this world. But I don't know if I have the ability to let go of everything in this earthly realm. To me, marriage or getting married isn't difficult at all, but living together, two people supporting and loving each other, that's not easy at all. Especially finding a soulmate, someone who truly understands you, is incredibly difficult. Especially when we understand Buddhist teachings and understand the ego, greed, anger, and ignorance, we know we are a part of it. We are greedy people who want to be loved, selfish, always wanting more, never less. We give, but then demand recognition for that giving. We love, but with conditions. And I understood that at 25, I was still naive, foolish, spoiled, and competitive. So I told my mom, my marriage is most important to me. It won't be important to anyone else, not even my parents, siblings, friends, or neighbors. This marriage is for my entire life, Mom. Look around and see how many happy marriages there are. Marriage and love will only be happy when both partners are awakened, both have clear wisdom. And that's something I feel I still need to cultivate in myself more. I know myself clearly through different stages. I'm not saying I always know myself perfectly, but at each stage, I examine myself to see where I am, if I'm ready yet. And that's why I also shared with everyone that I want to get married within the next 2 years, because I feel that's when I'll be ready, when it feels right. That's why, in my life, very few people have ever told me what to do or how to live. From a young age until now, I've been able to be myself and follow the path I want. And that's why I always advise everyone to always be themselves, because even if I don't clearly know the path I should take, I know what I like, what I don't like, and what my responsibilities are. On that path, I will slowly seek out who I am. But gradually, there are moments when I still feel like, is this truly me, the person I've always thought myself to be? Because there were times I lost myself. There were times I met people and felt, oh, I have to abandon my principles to get closer to this person. But afterwards, I realized I had lost that former self, and something just felt wrong. And slowly, over time, as I grew more and more, I started to hate my past self. There are moments when I despise my past self. There were times when I was so naive and foolish, and did some things that I honestly don't want to recall or recount now. I can't even say them here, I'm ashamed. But I've talked about it with my closest people, and I feel that it's true. Sometimes don't be yourself. Sometimes don't be yourself because my self back then was just too naive. Right. If I don't like myself from that time, or if I feel I was too innocent and foolish, not mature enough, then how could I possibly be myself? And even when I was wise, I might not have acted correctly. Many times I thought I was right, that I should do this. But years later, looking back with more maturity, I realize, oh, if only I had lowered my ego a bit, controlled my self-importance a bit, acted a little more gracefully, maybe everything would have turned out better. Sometimes we shouldn't be ourselves, we have to forget our ego. Perhaps we even have to forget it completely. I read Osho's book, The Ego, and it really made my head spin because there were so many things to think about, so many difficult things to accept. Many things felt right, but many also felt illogical. One person in the book talks about how a child, when young, doesn't have an ego and it only develops over time. I think there's some truth to that, but my niece is only 2 years old and it's very difficult to hug her. It's very hard for strangers to interact with her. Isn't that ego? Like she knows who she likes and who she doesn't. Aren't many things present from birth? Why isn't it clearer on this point? But what I want to share in today's podcast is, what do you think about yourself? Do you think you should be yourself or not be yourself? If right now, you love who you are and you know yourself well, then San thinks you should be yourself. If you know what you should do for your life, you should be yourself. If you know what you want, and everything is moving in the direction you desire, the things happening in your life, your relationships with family, friends, and yourself are all good, then you should continue as you are. But if you feel like, perhaps I'm not doing so well, perhaps I'm attracting insincere people who aren't good to me, or I don't have a good relationship with my parents, I can't talk to them. Sometimes I try to appear cool and great to everyone, but in reality, it's just an act of pretense. Do you ever feel that way? It's okay, everyone, just stay calm. If I were in that situation, I think I would start building the image of the person I want to become. In fact, even now, even though I know who I am, I'm still always building that image of who I want to become. It means developing from my current self to a squared, cubed, or nth power version of myself, still me, but exponentially better. So, if you don't like your current version, you shouldn't just multiply it as is. Do you think what I'm saying makes sense? We have to love ourselves first. So, even if you feel truly hateful, sometimes we need to change a little. What can we change? The things we asterisk can change, we asterisk should asterisk change. For example, your body. If you want it to be fitter, healthier, you can exercise. That's something you can change, right? We can take care of our skin, hair, and oral hygiene to glow up, to look brighter, smell nicer, be cleaner. We can also change our fashion, looking for styles that suit us and align with who we are. Actually, I've always quite liked dressing well. My style, though simple, I still feel it has to be beautiful. I rarely share fashion content because I focus more on self-development, on intellect and mind. I think maybe in the future, I'll do more about fashion, like finding personal style, perhaps. Where was I? Oh, I lost my train of thought. And then there are things you can't change, like your parents, your family, the place you were born. You can't change those, or you just have to learn to accept them. If you can love them, even better, everyone. We can learn to love our painful past or a not-so-great childhood, but it will take a lot of time. When we raise our energy frequency and learn to love even the things we once hated, then you will find more peace and tranquility. So, even if you hate yourself right now, don't worry. Stay calm. Build the image of the person you want to become. If you want to forget your current self, that's fine too. Everything is built from thought. If you don't want to remember it, forget it. But do you have enough courage to move forward? That's what's important. Meaning, do you have enough courage to build a new personality for yourself? If you've always been shy and hesitant to interact with people, do you dare to proactively talk to someone now? Do you dare to be completely different from your past self? That's what's important. Now, grab a notebook. Once you have your notebook, write down in it. It has a really cool section called Self-Reflection. In this section, there's a question. Am I living in alignment with my personal values and goals? So, write down what your values and goals are. What do you truly long for, even if you don't have it now? What do you desire? Paint a clear picture of the life you want, and then you'll slowly plan, slowly strive, slowly change to reach that version. I feel that over time, I'm slowly transforming. Those of you who have followed me since 2019 might have witnessed many of these transformations. And in the future, there will be many more. Why? Because I'm accepting my ugly self, the ugly version of myself from before. I'm peeling it back layer by layer. It's so painful, like stripping off your skin and seeing your own flesh transparent. It hurts, but it's the pain of rebirth. I really like the word rebirth. That song is popular now, but the rebirth I'm talking about is rebirth through the pain of self-realization, of seeing myself more clearly. Over time, I've become more consistent with what I want and what I'm becoming. Before, sometimes I liked one thing but ended up becoming something else. Do you ever feel like you like one thing but do another? For example, I used to want to be a businesswoman, a female entrepreneur, but I was scared. I was scared, so I didn't do it. But deep down, I always wanted to be a businesswoman. Later, gradually over time, I no longer avoided risks. Instead, I started to like them. The act of pausing everything to study abroad in the UK was a risk. I remember one time I was talking to my supervisor about feeling like a safe person, but she told me, "No, you gave up what you had to stop and go study. That's a path, a challenge you're undertaking, and maybe you don't see it." And that's why, gradually over time, I've become more true to myself. Or when I shared content online, sometimes I felt like I was trying too hard to be liked. I feel like many of my videos were like that. But in reality, I don't have that tendency in real life. In everyday life, I feel normal, natural, happy with people. I don't try to please anyone. I'm quite straightforward. So why wasn't I so straightforward, not more harsh, in my videos? I'm so happy that gradually over time, I've been able to live more authentically. Sometimes in life, we shouldn't be ourselves at all. We should become a better version of ourselves. We can forget the preconceptions we have about ourselves, like, we're not good enough, not capable enough, we can't do YouTube, we can't pursue music or law or medicine. Whatever you're thinking about yourself, believing you can't do it, forget that version. Start building a new one. You can absolutely draw inspiration from others, you know? We can't really copy, we can only take inspiration. Because if you keep copying, at some point, you'll realize you're going down the wrong path. Taking inspiration from others is a great thing. I don't have an ideal role model to follow, but there are some people with truly great personalities who simply make me want to live better, to change, just by looking at them. That's Uncle Ho. Uncle Ho, he is the most ardent love in the hearts of the people and in the hearts of humanity. His influence isn't just on the Vietnamese nation, it's worldwide boundless love and immense courage. I feel as small as a mouse, a grain of sand, really. I look at that and feel I need to strive harder to help as many people as possible. And there's another person I deeply admire, my teacher. Because he is a practitioner, he controls himself very well. He's not overly close, not dependent on anyone, lives simply, but is full of love, always loving everyone without attaching much importance to what he receives in return. Looking at my teacher's image, I want to cultivate myself even more. These are the personalities that I believe have enlightened my heart, my being, showing me how I should grow over time. At present, I still make many mistakes. I'm still childish. Since I was little, my mom pampered me. Even grown, I'm still spoiled. Although my mom says I'm not spoiled, sometimes I do think I am. Sometimes I'm stubborn, I see myself as stubborn. Gradually over time, as life gives me many lessons, I realize that I'm just as tiny as a grain of sand in this world. But I'm also happy to be a human being and to experience this lifetime. And actually, whether to be yourself or not be yourself isn't that important. What's important is that you have certain beliefs in this life, that you find beliefs to follow. In this world, there are too many things, and it's normal to get lost. But as long as you find the image you want to become, have living principles you will pursue, have visions, have lessons, have images that you know you can return to whenever you get lost, that's the most important thing. Don't be yourself. Yes, sometimes we need to forget ourselves to see more clearly what we truly want to become, the life we long for. Accepting ourselves and our mistakes is not easy. Sometimes we even laugh at our past, being ourselves. Like, because I was myself, I was rude to my boss, I argued with my boss like that. Because I was myself, I was ready to lose my temper with customers to protect my staff. Later, I realized I was foolish. I was being myself, but in a very short-sighted, ignorant way. So what kind of person should we be? Any kind is fine, just don't stress too much about being yourself. There will be times when you don't clearly know yourself, and that's okay. Just continue the journey, and you will gradually discover it. Once again, thank you all very much for listening to today's podcast. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye, wish you all a good night.